Komodo dragons are the largest lizards alive.
The world's largest lizard, known for its venomous bite and aggressive behavior, as well as its size.
Endangered, legally protected, and increasingly walking straight into Indonesian villages, dragging off livestock and turning up inside people's homes. Nobody can kill them. Nobody can move them. So, scientists weighed something almost absurd, turning porcupines loose against them, an animal whose quills can cripple or even kill the predators that attack it. On paper, it's the perfect defense, a living shield that renews itself. But trace that plan to its end, and the logic turns on itself. The fix built to push the dragons away might be exactly what drives them closer. The burrows beneath the village go back to the start, and none of it looks like a pattern. A goat gone one night, a couple of chickens the next. The kind of loss a farmer barely registers, because animals wander and predators are part of life out here. But then you start counting, and the losses don't scatter the way random bad luck scatters. They cluster, they creep, night after night, a little closer to the houses. So, the villagers do the only thing left to do. They walk into the forest to see for themselves. What they find isn't a den, it's a system. Deep shelters carved into the soil, worn smooth at the mouths, tracks pressed in and out of every opening. And they're active. Whatever lives down there is home right now. Stand at the edge of one of those holes for a second. The air coming out of it is cooler than the air around you. The dirt at the rim is packed flat from something heavy passing over it, again and again. You can't see the bottom, you just know it goes down, and you know it doesn't go down empty. That's the moment the whole village changed. The moment the ground stopped being ground and started being a door. Here's the thing you have to sit with. A predator that hunts in the open at least announces itself. This one doesn't. It surfaces, takes what it wants, and slips back underground before anyone's even awake. The village wasn't fighting an enemy it could see. It was losing them to the soil itself. And the animal doing it is one you already know, even if you've never stood next to one and felt how wrong the size of it is. A different world under Java. They're Komodo dragons, the largest lizards on Earth. A grown adult stretches close to 3 meters and can weigh half again what you do. It hunts out of them. It waits in the cool of the ground, then comes up to feed. And as the burrows spread past the tree line, the missing goats turned into something worse. Dragons walking into the villages themselves, sometimes into the homes, and you can't do anything about it. That's the part that traps everyone. The Komodo dragon is endangered. It's protected under Indonesian law. The animal strolling through the village is the exact animal the country has spent decades trying to save. You can't kill it. You can't legally haul it off. You just watch it learn your street. Think about how strange that is for a second. The law that's meant to protect a rare, disappearing animal is the same law that leaves a family standing in their doorway with no move to make. Not because anyone's careless, because the rules were written for a creature in the wild, and this one has stopped staying in the wild. So hold that image, because now I have to take you somewhere else. Another island entirely, where there's an animal that already beat this predator. No teeth worth mentioning, no speed, it just refused to lose. 2 predators, 1 underground world. Go to the forests of Java and you'll find the same kind of tunnels dug into the same kind of forest floor. Except these are already taken, not by giant reptiles, by porcupines. And down there, the rules flip completely. A porcupine doesn't give up ground. Its whole body is armor, long, hardened quills that turn a narrow tunnel into a defended corridor. Anything that follows it in is following it into a trap. It doesn't run when it's cornered. It turns, plants itself, and raises every quill into a bristling wall. And most predators that hit that wall back off on the spot. Do it enough times, and they stop trying at all. And it doesn't have to be fast or clever to win. That's what's so unusual about it. Most animals survive by being the harder target to catch. The porcupine survives by being the target that's not worth catching. It just stands there and dares you. And out in the wild, that dare works on almost everything. Now, line the 2 animals up in your head. The Komodo dragon hunts one way. It ambushes, closes the gap, and commits everything to a bite at point-blank range. That bite is the whole strategy. And it's delivered nose first, mouth first. The softest parts of the dragon shoved forward at the exact instant of contact. You see where this is going. A predator whose entire method is close, biting contact, walking into an animal built specifically to punish close, biting contact. So somebody, somewhere, asked the obvious question. If porcupines already live nearby and already send almost everything running, why not move them closer to where the dragons are hurting people? The boats already run between these islands. The distances are short. On paper, it's easy. And that on paper is where this whole thing is about to go wrong. Why the dragons are getting closer. Before we get into why these dragons are suddenly turning up inside people's houses. If you're the kind of person who has to know how a story like this actually ends, subscribe now. Because it only gets stranger from here. Okay. To see why the porcupine idea is so dangerous, you first have to understand why the dragons are drifting toward people at all. And it isn't aggression, it's something much quieter than that. Komodo dragons mainly hunt Javan deer and wild pigs. But when that wild prey gets scarce, they don't hold out and starve. They adapt. A penned goat, chickens, anything close to a village that's easier to reach than a deer in the hills. It isn't cruelty, and it isn't a taste for people. It's arithmetic. A low-risk meal near a house beats a hard chase in the forest every single time, and the dragon is just doing the math. Then there's the second shift, and this one's worse. Every time a huge predator walks through a settlement and nothing bad happens to it, a little of its caution burns off. Villagers have watched it happen. Dragons that used to keep their distance now linger, unbothered, closer than they've ever come. That's the real danger. A wild animal that's learned humans carry no consequences is an animal that will keep coming back, and it compounds. One dragon learns the village is safe, and it comes back. It comes back enough times, and the next dragon watching learns it too. What starts as a single animal's bad habit slowly becomes the local normal. And by the time anyone notices, it isn't an accident anymore. It's a routine. You're not dealing with a wandering predator. You're dealing with a pattern that took root. Put those two together, and the village stops being a place the dragon passes through. It becomes a feeding ground. And once that starts, good luck reversing it. So the obvious answer is to leave. Pack up, move somewhere the ground doesn't move. Except they can't. And the reason why is stranger than the danger. Why the people don't just leave. In almost any other place on Earth, people would go. Here, the danger doesn't push them out. It pins them down. They're tied to this land, culturally, economically, in ways you can't just walk away from. Leaving means giving up your income, your footing, your whole sense of where you belong, all at once. And here's the twist that makes it almost cruel. A huge chunk of that income is the dragon. Komodo National Park was set up in 1980, and it grew into one of the most sought-after destinations in the country. In the early days, it drew maybe 1,000 visitors. By 2023, it was pulling in hundreds of thousands a year. Guides, boats, lodging, food. Entire local economies now sit on top of that traffic. So, where exactly is anyone supposed to go? The thing that threatens your livestock is the same thing that pays your bills. So, the fear never fully lifts. And leaving was never really on the table, which means people are left doing the only thing they can, bracing for whatever walks up next, with no way to control when it does. Living by luck. When you can't remove the threat and you can't leave, safety stops being something you build. It becomes something you happen to have. Right place, right moment, or the wrong one. So, people improvise. They throw stones. They wave sticks, trying to herd the dragons back toward the wild. And according to surveys of the people who live there, about 1 in 10 have actually grabbed a dragon by the tail to drag it off, which tells you everything about how normal the impossible has become. But most of the time, nobody does anything. The dragon moves through, and everyone watches from a safe distance and waits for it to leave on its own terms. There's no schedule, no rule for when the danger shows up. And it's into that gap, that helpless waiting silence, that one genuinely strange idea crept in. What if you didn't fight the dragon at all? What if you just put something in its path that it had already learned to fear? And the more you sit with it, the more sense it starts to make. You're not trying to outmuscle the dragon. You're not trying to break the law and remove it. You're just trying to make the village a place it would rather not be. Let the animal decide, on its own, to stay away. It's the kind of idea that sounds almost too clever, and those are exactly the ones you have to watch. The animal nothing wants to fight. And this is where the porcupine goes from odd footnote to the best candidate anyone's got, for a reason that has nothing to do with strength. It's simply one of the least worthwhile things in the wild to attack. Its quills deliver instant serious pain and wounds that heal slowly, if they heal at all. And that's the whole trick. Out there, survival isn't about winning fights. It's about not getting hurt. A predator that gets injured hunting can't hunt, and a predator that can't hunt is already dying. Evolution drills that lesson in hard, steering hunters away from any target that's too much risk for too little food. The porcupine is that target in its purest form. It can cause deep tissue damage, infection, and in documented cases, the slow death of the very animal that attacked it. Lions, leopards, big, confident killers that hesitate the second they see one. But a reputation earned against lions is one thing. There's a sharper question buried under all of this, and everything hangs on it. Would any of that actually hold up against a Komodo dragon? Would it hold against a Komodo? And this is where the biology lines up almost too perfectly. Remember how the dragon attacks. It leads with its face, nose and mouth first, driven straight into the one place a porcupine's defense does its worst. Those quills are built to detach on contact. Once they lodge in soft tissue, the animal's own movement works them deeper instead of out, and they carry infection in with them. The porcupine can even lash with its tail to punch them harder, deeper, push far enough, and it stops being about pain. Quills that migrate can reach blood vessels, reach organs, and the infection can turn fatal days after the fight is already over. And this isn't a hypothetical, I'm selling you. There are documented cases of big predators dying after a porcupine encounter, and plenty more left crippled by it. In the wild, crippled is just a slower way of saying finished. So on paper, the matchup favors the porcupine, and it favors it exactly where the dragon commits hardest, which is what makes the last idea so tempting, and so quietly, completely wrong. Where the plan falls apart. Here's the pitch. If porcupines already live in the region and naturally send predators running, why not seed them near the villages as a living shield? A defense that renews itself. No new species dropped into the ecosystem, nothing rewired from scratch. It sounds perfect. And for a second, the geography actually plays along. Indonesia has its own native porcupines. The Malayan porcupine on the mainland and Sumatra, and the Sunda porcupine on islands nearer the Komodo range. So in theory you could move a native animal without importing a foreign one. No invasive species. Clean. Now, watch it collapse. Because nobody actually knows if it works. The porcupines might survive the move, but whether they'd change dragon behavior at any real scale is completely unclear. And underneath that uncertainty is something much worse. Say it works too well. Say the porcupines settle in and take the burrows and lock the dragons out of their own shelters. The dragons don't vanish. They do the one thing they're brilliant at. They adapt. They go looking for somewhere else to shelter. And in a lot of these places, the only option left is the edge of a human settlement. Sit with that. The fix meant to push the dragons away could end up shoving them straight toward people's homes instead. You didn't build a shield, you built a wall on one side of the house and left the other side wide open. And then you handed the dragon a reason to walk around it. The better the porcupines do their job underground, the fewer places the dragon has left to go. And the closest empty shelter is you. And there's a precedent that should stop anyone cold. In Pakistan, porcupines are already treated as agricultural pests, chewing through crops and orchards, costing farmers real money, real harvests. Flood the wrong place with them, and you don't erase a problem, you trade it. The village that stops losing goats to dragons starts losing its fields to quills. That isn't peace, it's a swap. What actually works? So strip away the drama, and the real problem was never kill the Komodo dragon. It's holding an entire balancing act steady at once. The prey, the predator, the people, the money. And the things that actually move that balance are so unglamorous, nobody wants to make a video about them. Secure the livestock in enclosures a dragon can't breach. Manage the waste so the village stops advertising a free meal. Strip out the food that pulls predators in close in the first place. And protect the wild prey. Keep the deer healthy enough that a real hunt is worth more than a raid on a goat pen. Fix the food in the forest, and you fix the reason the dragons are drifting into town at all. Every one of those works with the dragon's nature, instead of fighting it. You can't argue a predator out of being a predator, but you can change the math it's running. Make the wild worth more and the village worth less. Until, on its own terms, the dragon chooses the forest. That's not control. It's a negotiation in the only language a Komodo dragon speaks: risk and reward. None of it is dramatic. Nobody's grabbing a tail. Nobody's releasing an army of spiny animals to save the day. It's fences and habits and quiet, boring discipline, repeated for years. And that's the frustrating truth underneath the whole story. The answer that actually works is the one that never trends. But even that can't touch the one thing that decides all of it: the part no one can engineer. Because you can build every enclosure and relocate every porcupine and still run headfirst into the people themselves, and what this animal means to them. In some of these communities, the Komodo dragon isn't just tolerated, it's woven into who they are, spoken about in some places almost like family. And when you actually ask the people living right beside these dragons, roughly 4 in 5 say they'll keep coexisting anyway, risk and all. That single fact quietly kills every plan built on getting rid of the dragon. You can't remove an animal that a community counts as one of its own. So, the porcupine stays exactly what it was at the start. An intriguing maybe, never an answer. One piece of a puzzle made of ecology, money, adaptation, and belief. And after all of it, the clearest conclusion is the least satisfying one. There's no clean fix here, only trade-offs, only consequences. Every door you open in this story closes another one somewhere you weren't looking, which leaves you with one question worth actually sitting with. Can people ever build a truly safe balance with the Komodo dragon without reshaping the entire world around it and everything living in that world? In the process, let me know what you think in the comments. And if this was worth your time, a like and a subscribe genuinely help.